Ladies and gentlemen, this is a story that came out in the Wall Street Journal, June 9th, 2020. International law demands reparations for American slavery. Yeah, cut the check now. After the death of George Floyd, BET co founder Robert Johnson argued that now is the time for the U.S. to pay $14 trillion in reparations to American descendants of African slaves. He's right. But while the issue in the U.S. is seen largely as a domestic affair, international law creates an unequivocal basis for reparations. The failure of successive U.S. governments to pay reparation paved a way for Trump administration impunity. It has meant that the intergenerational trauma inflicted by slave trade over centuries have never been healed, but instead has been incorporated into many Americans' most vital institutions. Some argue that because slavery was legal during much of the time it was practiced in the US, there can be no case for reparations. That's false. That's false. But the US is bound by international law and must be guided by the precedent set by many other countries that have recognized reparations as a means to redress injustice. Moreover, the prohibition against slavery has now achieved. So they're saying it's now at fever pitch to pay these reparations. This is the highest legal status in international law, and it means retroactive responsibility may be imposed on those who violated that norm. This is how the Nazis were prosecuted in Nuremberg. Retroactively, for crimes against humanity. On that basis alone, the U.S. may be held legally responsible for the historical enslavement of Africans and the consequence for their descendants. We know we're not Africans, y'all, but this is how it's written in the story. Others argue that administering and paying reparations would be too impractical and burdensome. Well, that's too bad. Okay, I don't care if it is a burden to you. Tough shit, get over yourself. But reparations have been implemented in countries across the globe, whether due to genocide in Germany, forced labor post-war in Austria, racial discrimination in South Africa, Civil War, Northern Ireland, Colombia, and illegal occupation, Iraq against Kuwait. Reparations need not take the form of monetary payments and land restitution. Oh, yes, it does. Okay, I got a problem with anybody that's trying to remove money from the table. Okay, no. Don't try to give us programs, because this is what they're getting ready to get into, y'all. They have been implemented through social programs. No, we don't want programs. Do not come to if you didn't give the Jews programs, you're not giving us programs. Like home care in Germany for Holocaust survivors, and educational programs and healthcare services in Chile for victims of Augusto Pinochet. Even economically depressed countries such as Argentina and Guatemala have found that where to fund reparation programs. And why then should the U.S. be an exception? No, you're not going to pile us up with programs and give us no monetary restitution. That ain't going to work. That ain't going to work. This also defeats the argument that the cost of reparations can't be imposed on society as a whole for a crime that a minority committed centuries ago. Yeah, but much of their offspring walk among us today. Now, many of them will try to lie and tell you only 1%. Nah, damn near all of these white people in this country have relatives in the past that had slaves. They want you to believe the opposite. It wasn't that many. That wasn't that many lie. It's a lie. It's a lie. you know, and I realized what they were saying was a lie when I started doing my family tree, and it had a list of slave owners, and it sure was an awful lot of them when I did my research. So, no, they've been trying to tell all these lies for many years, and ladies and gentlemen, that's all it is. You know, they figure if they tell you that, then they can't be responsible for nothing, and it's a bullshit lie. It's a bullshit lie, okay? I mean, if that's the case, everybody in Germany did not take part in the Holocaust, but you sure overlooked all of that and gave the Jews reparations, didn't you? Okay. Across the globe, most taxpayers who have borne the cost of domestic reparation programs were not personally responsible for the crimes, but did benefit from historical injustices. Just like many of these people that tell you they had nothing to do with it, they have lived out their entire life with all kinds of privileges and advantages that we never had. So I don't feel you on that argument. Don't feel you at all. The lack of personal culpability can't excuse inaction. The current protests are what happens when society refuses to assume the responsibility of remedying injustice. The case for reparations isn't only a legal one, it is also about coming to terms with the historical injustice that explain continuing frustration and marginalization today. America can't heal without acknowledging its original sin, slavery, and implementing a reparations program that encompasses truth, reconciliation, atonement, and compensation. The grim legacy of slavery is a form of structural racism that continues to bar social, economic, political, and health equality for many African Americans. That is itself a justification for reparations. Another is that more than half a century since the end of Jim Crow, innocent African Americans continue to be murdered at the hands of police officers and vigilantes, apparently with impunity, unless it is caught on video. There can be no longer any question that the legacy of slavery will endure unless reparations are made as a first step towards corrective justice. Now, I agree with a lot of what this article said, but not the part where they are saying reparations can be without money, but in programs. No, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. I mean, the monetary part we are entitled to. We are. But, ladies and gentlemen, please tell me what you think. I do think that calls for reparations should be from us, definitely, and anybody in this society that have benefited off of the backs of our labor. past and present, because, many of these corporations still benefit through prison labor and pay those inmates next to nothing. It is just another form of slavery. It hasn't changed. These folks got that plantation mentality. They always want something for nothing. But y'all, please tell me what you think. Please leave your comment and subscribe. Don't forget to hit on the notification bell, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace, family.